me say the Mama Podcast?
Mama Podcast.
Hi Mama, you're listening to the Mama Podcast. It's Sumaya here, the co-founder of Mama Emmy app. Mama Emmy is the first app to exclusively connect mothers across the Middle East, connect with like-minded mamas and create lifelong friendships. At Mama, we are all about connecting mamas to empower women. So let's join together and make this mission a reality. With this week being Maternal Mental Health Week and over 80% of women suffering from baby blues, with 1 in 15 women suffering from postnatal depression. This week we're talking about the vital and fundamental conversation of postnatal depression and even suicidal thoughts. This conversation with Zaynab from the Z Tribe does cover quite a lot of information about her experiences and emotions. This may be triggering for some of you, and for any of you that need support or help, please look in the show notes below. We've added some links, and also you can always reach out and speak to us.
Zaynab, thank you so much for joining me on the Mama Podcast. I know this is going to be like a big topic, but I'm actually excited to talk to you. One, because we've spoken online for so long and we've never actually got to speak to each other. So I'm really excited to actually take our friendship to the next level. But also on top of that, you share some really, really, really vital information through your social media. And obviously we're going to delve into that a bit deeper. Before we start like the whole conversation, I would like you to just tell our listeners who you are, what you do, what your background is, and then how many children you have and how old they are. And then we can get into the conversation of your experience and what you dealt with as well.
Thank you, Sumaya, for having me. So it was so glad to meet you finally. So quick something about me is that I'm a mom of 2 girls. That's how I introduce. So because they become my world. So they're age 7 and 2. So these 2 girls always keep me on my toes. So other than that, professional wise, I'm a certified education coach. So that's the shortest briefing I can give about me. And I also have a page where I do conscious parenting. I started my journey in 2018 after I gave birth to my second one. That's where I really started conscious parenting.
So if we could go back, just because you do share this on your social media, but I'd love to sort of delve into deeper about your experience. So if we could go back to about postnatal depression after having your second daughter and how you dealt with that and what the triggers were, etc. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But I wanted to know if this was something that happened just after your second daughter, or was this something you experienced with your first as well, but you weren't really aware of it happened?
I think for my first daughter, if you ask, because I have 2 kids, their birth stories are so different from each other. So on my first birth, I think that it was a little much harder. I was alone, I was young, there was no help whatsoever. So there was some parts of trauma I underwent. So most of them I have spoken about my lazy eye syndrome. That happened after I gave birth to my first daughter. So I think from that point onwards, when people ask me, oh, what happened to your eyes? I had even got comments like, it's a permanent damage. You can never get your eye back or some. So these things, it has been disturbing me a lot. It was a medical error. It was done by the doctors, but later they covered it up. It's a well-known hospital. They covered it up. And it took me almost like an year and a half to realize that this error happened during my childbirth, that is during delivery.
Oh, wow.
They literally double the dose of Synto, which is not to be done. Due to that, within 15 days after my delivery, my eye became small. So even now I take medication, I do eye exercises. It has improved. It's what doctors say is I need to, do a surgery, but I'm not very happy to do a surgery right at the moment. So I'm just doing the medication through exercises. It has improved, but it is now 7 years now. I hope that I see improvement maybe in a year or 2.
That's such an unfortunate situation, and you're so brave for being able to go through that and then be able to talk about it as well.
Whoever who is going through childbirth or new mom, just know your doctor well and know your body's condition well, and have someone next to you with all those information, and make sure they ask what goes into your body. Like, there was literally no one during my childbirth, so they just happily increased the dose of Synto, which is not to be done without doctor's advice.
Having an advocate beside you is so important during childbirth, because often when you're
Yes.
giving birth, you're out of it a little bit, right? Like, you're not really focused too much. And that's why it's so important to
Yes.
have had these conversations beforehand. And it's not just the doctor. Like, I think it's important to have an advocate, whether that's your husband, a friend, a doula, whoever it
Yes.
might be. It's important to have that person by you. So how did you cope after? How was your experience after your first birth?
In the beginning, it was so hard because when I came on vacation after I gave birth to my elder one, Zoha, so she was 3 months when I first brought her to Sri Lanka. So it was like a big issue with a lot of people. They're like, oh my God, you have lost a part of your, that's the feeling they gave me, like, you have lost a part of your eye. And someone literally blamed my child as well. I mean, the mentality is that low. I can't even say it because I feel ashamed, because they were like, oh my God, this child has brought bad luck to you. Even stuff like that.
Oh my
So
God.
it was too much for me to take. So even though I put on a brave face and, I'm not sharing much with them, but with my close friends, I used to talk to them. Whenever I feel like overwhelmed, I always talk to my friends, my best friends. They've always been there. So that actually kind of helped me to pull myself together. And my husband has been really supportive, because I used to cry to him like so many nights. It's not easy when people look at you and the first thing they notice, and they kind of blame you for the way you look or your eyes, and then they blame your child. So it was not easy, but as time went by, I just realized that, I need to be strong for my girl. I just, step by step, it took me a couple of years to come over it, because whoever I saw, that's the first thing they used to say is, oh, what happened to your eyes? Oh, poor you, maybe it's a permanent damage, maybe you can never recover it. So stuff like that.
I mean, I can't imagine having those kinds of comments. Like, it's so crazy that people think it's okay to say that to people, to others,
One thing I have always seen, maybe mostly it's Asian communities. I don't know about the other nationalities, but when you come to our country's nationalities or the common Asian, they always fail to ask how the mom is. So I feel like so upset when I think about it, because you need to see how the mom is, what she's going through. I mean, she just gave birth, because for Zoha, I literally took like one day, like 12 hours. 12 hours. After 12 hours, I gave birth to her. I was so exhausted. There was not a single person who looked at me and asked, are you okay? What do you need? So they all carried away, there's a new baby. And after I came here to Sri Lanka after 3 months, still it was the same. Nobody asked, are you okay? What support you need? So I think that thing should change. So one main reason I want to open up about my experience, be it my eyes or be it the face, I went through a lot of depression and anxiety. Like, make a point to ask how the mom is, what she needs. She's the main person here, because she has undergone a lot, and we need to keep her sane so that she pulls herself together.
Absolutely. That's such a strong message. And I love that you're sharing that. And that's ultimately the undertone of all of your messages on social media as well. Of course, you do a lot of the conscious parenting, which we'll get into afterwards. The undertone of your main message, which is let's support the moms, is so strong. Your two births were very different. And you talk about the fact that you dealt with and had to experience postnatal depression with your second daughter.
Yes.
From my understanding, am I right in saying that after your first one, even though it's challenging and you dealt with like all of like the medical problems, etc., you didn't necessarily feel like you were going through postnatal depression? Is that right?
Yeah, actually, maybe because for my elder daughter, I was occupied. Maybe even though I went through a lot of challenges and mental pressure and everything, I was away from the community. I mean, I was in Dubai where I had my life on my routine, and I was working. So those things actually kept me occupied. So I didn't think deep much about like what I went through, because in Dubai, like there were very less people who were asking me about my eyes, right? I was accepted for who I am, and I was working, and they only saw like the talent I had or the skills I had. Even my colleagues, they were like amazing. So maybe because of that, I didn't fall into depression, because I had people around me like who really accepted me, and they were helpful, they were nice. But for Zeba, it was so different because I didn't have work. I just had delivered a baby, and I had like tons of people coming to visit me, and they had tons of comments. And Zeba had urine infection, and she also had this rare form of reflex where she couldn't, drink breast milk, right? So I had to pump my milk and give, because she couldn't drink the way, how we feed the babies. Okay. So she used to cry and everything. So doctors found out that she cannot take breast milk. So I had to stop feeding her, even though she was exclusively breastfed for about 2 months. People started blaming me when she fell sick. She got urine infection when she was 3 months. Okay. With a high fever. I mean, when I think about it now, I start tearing, because she was really sick with high fever, and I couldn't, literally she wouldn't move. So when I took her to the hospital and the doctor, they were like, she's in a very serious condition. And then immediately, some family members, they came to the room, and when the child was in the ICU, I was not able to see my child. They blamed me, saying, you're such a bad mom. Her most heartbreaking comment, they said this: you're so lazy that you just want to give formula for your child, and you're almost going to kill your child now.
That's so sad to hear. And I can see how much this is still having, and I know, because I know your story, I know you had therapy, and I know you had support, but even still, this is still something that triggers you till this day.
It was so bad.
So the one thing that you said was, after your first daughters, you didn't feel so much like you'd fallen into a state of depression. And that's primarily because you had your colleagues around you, and you had like them really lift you up. And I think that's such a strong message in itself, that how the people that surround us, our community, whether it's your family or just friends or people that you meet, like if they can literally lift you up, then it can have a huge impact on how you feel. It can actually stop someone from getting into this state of depression. I mean, that in itself is so strong and incredible. And I think if something we can take away as an individual, that to me just reminds me of how important my words are to other people. And it is important to keep lifting people up. So that's my first thing that like I love to take away from your story. And the second thing that you talked about with your daughter, with your second daughter, is commented on the fact that you only breastfed for 2 months. To me, that is incredible. If you can breastfeed, then great. And if you can't, you can't. We have to come, as a society, we have to come to a point where it is what it is for some moms, right? Some moms have to breastfeed, and exclusively breastfeed, or may decide to exclusively breastfeed. And for others, it may be a combination of both. And for some moms, maybe they don't want to, and that's okay. It's not up to us to decide. It's whatever's okay for their family.
That's the main part which pushed me into depression, to be honest, Sumaya. I was keeping my mental health so strong after Zoha that, but some people just, to be honest, they just break you. They just emotionally break you. So when you emotionally break down, and when you don't have support as a new mom, that's where depression starts. And I went through such a bad phase that usually I'm an organized person, Sumaya. I stopped being organized. Even having a bath, changing my clothes was so hard for me, to be honest. Because everybody was humiliating me to an extreme that, they didn't understand that it's my child, right? I want to breastfeed her, but I can't because she can't drink breast milk. So when I try to explain it to them, they're like, you're lazy, so you're finding excuse. So no one actually listened to me. Unfortunately, my husband was abroad at that time, because I came here for delivery. He came for delivery and he had to go back to work within a week. So he was not there. So he did emotionally support me, but he's in a distance, so it's hard all the time because with his workload and everything. And I didn't want to pressurize him as well because I know he'll get worried. So I didn't want to share things with him as well. Just because I thought, it's not fair me burdening him. But people were not supportive at all. And everywhere I went, like you said, oh, you're feeding formula, so no breast milk, your child will fall sick, your child's immune will go down because of you. So it was everywhere I went, they're like, because of you, you're the villain for your child. That type of a talk. That got to me actually. So one day I sat down and my body started shivering actually. I was so upset and I really started believing I'm a bad mom because everywhere I went, I heard that you're a bad mom. Oh, when people keep repeating something as and you start believing them, no matter how much mentally strong you have been, sometimes at points like this you really break down.
Even the strongest person, after a certain point, like it would start getting to you, right? And that's so sad to hear that this is the message people were sharing. And I think for us, from a point of conversation where we can share on a platform that will reach more people, I think it's just a message to remind us all that our words can have such a strong impact on another person, whether you know the person or you don't know the person. Just be mindful of the words that come out of our mouths, right? Like, I think that's such an important message to remember. Also, one other point, this is something that women do a lot. I didn't want to share with my husband because I didn't want to burden him, right? How often do we say that as women? Like, it's incredible to think that we want to take the world's like problems on our shoulders. But it's important to remember that we should be sharing this, whether it's with your husband, your friend, your parents, whoever it might be. We need to share this because it's when, like, there's that saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. And even just being able to talk about it might be enough. So it's important, to ask for the help and to ask for the support.
Exactly.
What made you realize that this was like something you were dealing with and that you needed support and help?
Even though I'm an education coach and I worked with a lot of families and I know what is to go through depression. The best part is when it comes to you, you never know what hit you because you're a totally different person and you can't identify until it goes to an extreme level. I couldn't identify until my situation like deteriorated like totally, and I was having bad anger issues, really bad. And I used to get irritated with everything and my daily routine. I never had a routine. I was all messed up. I'm not that person because for me, schedules are lifeline, right? So a person who knows me, they know because I like it that way, like to be disciplined and, have everything, plan out everything. When this happened, I was struggling, I was crying. I never slept. I couldn't fall asleep. I couldn't have a bath. I didn't want to have a bath. Or I didn't want to read. So all the things which I love, I started hating. So I started fighting with my husband. And then finally there came to a point, right, where I wanted to end my life. So because people always started, they didn't know that I'm going through something hard. And whenever I tried to voice out that I'm going through something hard, they always hit it back in my face saying, you're a bad mom. Look at you. You don't know to take care of your children. But they didn't realize that I'm struggling and I'm reaching out for help. I was actually reaching out, trying to talk to people, but I was always considered like you're hallucinating or you're delusional or stuff like that. You're psychotic. Some people even have told me that. So I was shouting out loud for help, but everyone ignored, simply everyone. Right? And I couldn't tell my husband because, as you told, like we women, we think that we have to take everything to ourselves. We don't want to trouble him. So I thought, okay, that was my thought. I don't want to tell him. I don't want to trouble him. He has been so supportive. Like he's with all my work, he's been like really supportive and gives me so much space to do what I want. One fine day, I thought, this is it. I can't take it anymore. Because I'm a bad mother, my children don't deserve a bad mother, and my husband doesn't deserve a bad wife. So these are the only people, I consider world. So I thought I will end my life. I literally got everything, to end my life, like all ready and all planned. Okay.
Planned it.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought, okay, I will finish it off, I don't want anymore because it was so bad. It was so bad. No one would even listen to my cry, like saying, this girl needs help. It's so heartbreaking even to say, Sumaya, like how sometimes people are so busy, you don't see people crying, people reaching out for help. You don't take a minute or a moment to see what's happening, or there is no kind words. So in my life, I make it a point, like, always be there for some person. At least it will change someone's life. So that was the main purpose for me to open up my page as well. So to reach and talk to women saying, look, you can be busy and at the same time you can save a life. So I literally prepared everything to end my life that day. So I don't know why I took that decision. I thought, like, my kids deserve a better mom. That was my thought. So basically, that day night, I thought I will, overdose myself with poison or sleeping dose or sleeping capsule, and finish off my chapter because I don't deserve to live anymore. I felt very dirty, like I'm a dirty person, like I have like dirt all over me. So that's what I felt. So that day afternoon, I can remember I'm just sitting in the room, like isolated, like I didn't want to see my daughter, the Zoha, my elder one. She was only 5 at that time. So then my elder daughter just came in, and then she was asking, "Are you okay?" Okay, that's what she asked me when she saw. I said, "Yeah." I mean, I quickly wiped my eyes and I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." So she's like, "No, I saw you crying, right?" So I said, "No, no, thanks. No, I was not crying." But then she's so strong-willed. She's like, "No, what happened? Did someone scold you? Or did someone hurt your feelings? Or are you missing dad?" You know, so stuff like that. So then I told her, "Yeah, I'm missing dad." That was like a good reason. I mean, she gave out the reasons. So she's like, "Oh, okay." And then she's like, "Okay, you need a hug from me, mama." Okay, so she gave me this tight hug, and she's like, "No, if dad's not there, it's okay. He will come soon." She was actually treating me like a kid, like how I look after them. So I feel so emotional when she's like, "Don't cry, like that's he will come soon." And then she gave me a tight hug. "He will come soon, right? Until that, I'm here for you. And you're forgetting that I need you and I miss you. You have not spending time with me." So that really, it opened my eyes. That moment, she said, "I need you." So that word, I don't know, it's like a God sent, maybe. I was shocked. Oh God, what am I trying to do? That she needs me, this girl needs me. So that's when it shook me up and it opened my eyes, thinking, if I'm not there for them, what will happen to them? Because until that, I really didn't realize, if my child hadn't come at that moment, I don't think I'll be even talking to you. So she said, "I need you." That she exactly told that word, "I need you, and you're not spending time with me. I miss you, mom. I miss our times alone." So then I realized there is one person who needs me. They both need me. So what am I trying to do? So that's when I realized that whole day I gave it a long thought process of all what happened, where it triggered me. So it seems like, from the beginning for Zoha, people have been shaming me, humiliating me, but I had a good support system then. Now I don't have a support system. And I realized that I can't handle this alone. It's too much for me to handle. And I couldn't. So I was like, I need help. So I went to my gynae. She's great. She was really supportive. She asked me a couple of questions to see if it's the symptoms of depression or Is it baby blues? Because it was only like 3-4 months. She advised me and then she put me to a therapist. So that's when I opened up even to my best friend, because I didn't tell her a thing as well. That moment I thought like even she wouldn't support. That's what happened. And then I went to therapy. Please notice this, very secretly. No one knew at home, not my parents, not my family, not my extended family, no one. Even my friend, she was shocked. She was like, why didn't you tell me? Then whenever I tried to reach out, there was no response and everyone seemed so busy. So I just put a shield across me saying, I'm not going to share it with anyone. So that was like an assumption. Then help me go to therapy, look after my kids. Because without support, it's really hard to come out of this, Sumaya. To be honest, you can't battle depression alone. There are days where we feel overwhelmed with a lot of things going on. We can't handle it. Then we need to pause, recharge, reset, and we need to get help. We need to make clear for everyone who is struggling at this moment. When you find it hard to cater to all the needs, just pause and get help. When you reach out, I think nowadays it has become so that we need to reach out for help. Help won't come unless you ask for it. People don't know what you're going through. Doctors don't know what you're going through. You just need to go there. If there are no family support to you, and if you're struggling with some kind of depression or you feel mentally low, go there to a doctor, consult. Maybe even you don't need to share it with anyone. They will help you come out of it. That's what I did. No one knew that I went to therapy, not even my husband. I didn't want to share. He would have understood, but he really didn't want to share it.
That moment with your daughter really is the thing that was so pivotal in all of this. It made me so emotional. Like how such a simple moment, but so strong, can change your mindset instantly. And I'm so grateful that it happened. I'm so grateful that you're being vulnerable and actually sharing your whole story. You could have just sugarcoated it and just sort of spoken about it on the surface, but you really are sharing every single detail. And that's really important because it will help support another mom that may be experiencing it or may not be experiencing it to this degree, but maybe having anxiety, to know that it's okay that other people do experience it, and they can come out, and you've come out so much stronger from this, like from this whole experience. Like you're now here supporting so many other people. What are your thoughts on the fact that everyone's so busy? Do you think that it is something that we should change, or is it that we should just get to a stage where we are now advising moms to literally reach out even for the smallest thing?
People are so busy nowadays. They have their kids, their family. In a way, we cannot expect people to come and help you. But what I feel is if you really need help, right, you need to reach out for it. Because at the end of the day, people can't read our minds. People don't know what we are going through. And some people, they really can't read the signs, because when I experience it, because depression is so tricky that you'll be crying inside your room. When you come out, you're coming out with a smile on your face because you're not showing it out. So when you know that you're going through anxiety or it's too much for you to take in, you need to reach out to help. But at the same time, I would like to say, as moms, we have friends circle, we have people around us. So we have to look out for them. When you feel that a person's behavior has changed, or they are silent more than usual, slight changes, reach out to them and ask them how they are. If they won't accept immediately saying, look, I'm undergoing depression, so I need help. Because it takes a lot of courage to come to terms with the fact that I'm undergoing depression. I have something wrong with me. So it really takes a lot of time. And I know it because I went through it. I really wanted to open out about this, Sumaya, because I really don't want another person to come to a point of suicidal. Mine stopped because of my child, but I don't know, if she hadn't come, I don't know what would have gone wrong. I think they wouldn't have a mom today.
It's such a strong message, and I'm honestly so grateful for you sharing it with me. I feel honored that you could share the story with me, and I'm honored that you're allowing me to share it with other people. So thank you for that.
So grateful for the opportunity, Sumaya. Thank you so much, because I can voice out what I went through, because I really honestly, I really don't feel like anyone deserves to go through this type of struggle just because you're a mom. Mom is a powerful thing, because at the same time, she undergoes so many changes, so many mental pressures, the society. Moms to come to that level, to understand we are not alone. We are all going through something, but reach out for help when you need.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll mirror me in this. And if we can support in any way at all, just send us a message via email, DM us on Instagram, whatever. I'm more than happy to help support anybody that might be in this situation where they may need to find some actual medical support. Obviously, I can't support medically, but I can definitely support in finding that person for them. And I'm sure you'll mirror the same.
And I'm so grateful for the My Mama app. You know what, Sumaya, you've done a really great initiative, and you're one of the most nicest, kindest person I have met on Insta. But to be honest, I always really appreciate how kind you are, how nice you are. It's easy to talk to. I think we all should, sometimes be easy to talk to, ask how a person is, So these things I really admire in you, and I'm really grateful to the My Mama app. Because when I was in UAE, I always see the app, listen to podcasts. It's so nice to know that we are not alone.
And thank you so much for the kind words. And you never know, we might be in Sri Lanka very, very soon. Where can our listeners find you? And what's the best way to contact you if someone wants to speak to you?
They can communicate with me through my page, the Z Tribe. So I'm on Insta, and I'm always here for anyone who needs help, or just to say that even if you want to talk out, or if you want to share your experience, and if you will feel better sharing it with someone, or if there's any way I can help, you can always reach out to me on my page, and I'm quite active. I have some allocated time, so they can reach out from my page, the Z Tribe, anytime they want.
That's amazing. I will link your Instagram page so that listeners can find you easily. And thank you once again for today's conversation. It really means a lot to me that you shared your whole story. We will get you back at some point to talk about conscious parenting. I know we didn't get a chance to speak about that, but to me, it was so important that we shared your message.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sumaya. Really, I feel so good sharing the story.